All right, let's talk a little bit of sports. We got like maybe 15 minutes.
No doubt, no doubt.
All right, so at this point, we want to bring in our special guest.
Yeah. Jumping out. Let's see.
All the way from
you gotta bring. There we go.
Knoxville,
From
Tennessee.
Yeah. Welcome to
Joining us.
our show. This is my nephew Kadence. He is a from what I've gathered in the last 3 days, he is a genius expertise on random basketball knowledge, and he is incredible at not telling you the rules of NBA 2K and just changing all of the configurations around. No, but we've been kicking it for the last couple of days, man. He's been whooping me in NBA 2K, and we've been shooting hoops and just talking basketball or whatever. So I figured since NBA playoffs are about to start, because it's funny because whenever he asked about the podcast, he was like, well, the game starts at 7:30. I was like, yes, I know the game starts at 7:30. We will be off. We'll make sure that we're there for Ant-Man and Luka later. So, but yeah, I just want to bring him on. Man, we have some good conversations. He brings up some good topics, when we're talking basketball. And I remember, I'm sure you remember too, at that age when you were just soaking up like everything that had to do with sports. You know what I mean? And I started to think back, I wonder how many times like some of my brothers and people were looking at me and I was just rattling off like crazy sports knowledge, and they were just like, you know what? So anyway, welcome, Kadence, man. It's good to have you on the show. It is officially a black and white thing.
That's what I was gonna say, bro.
Oh my bad, I stole his line. Yeah,
that's what's up. All right, so first, Kadence, I want share with the world the take that Ward shared with me about Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain.
All right, so for me, this is just me personally. Obviously, everybody got there. Not for the reason you think, because there's not enough footage and not enough to know about what the competition was back then compared to the competition now to form my own opinion on where they should be ranked.
And see, I like people that say, I'm not going to form my opinion because I don't know. It's better to be that kind of person than the kind of person that says, no, this person's the GOAT. And you're like, oh, yeah, well, how good was he on the Suns? Well, he was real good. Yeah, he didn't play for the Suns. See, you don't watch him. You know what I mean? So it's like, I like that. I like that a lot.
So I respect that. I personally, too, although there are a few people, I would say this. If you can find as much footage or read as much as you can about some of these guys, because some of them have done really amazing things. For me personally, there's one player I didn't see that I really put on for is Elgin Baylor, because Elgin Baylor is kind of like he's like the first great athlete to ever play the game. If you look at the history book of the NBA, you're always seeing like most points in the playoff game. Elgin Baylor's like top 5. Most points per game in a single season. Like when you look at those scoring records, Elgin Baylor's name is always there. And when you listen to how people who grew up watching him or who played against him talk about him, they talk about him like the way that people talk about Kobe, right? The way people talk about Jordan or Dr. J. I'm like you, Kadence. When it comes to the greatest of all time, when I have those discussions, it's no disrespect to Wilt or Kareem or Jerry West. I just didn't see him play.
Yeah.
Or
so it's hard for me to say it again.
David Bing? What's the guy's name? Is it
Bing? I was like, Dave Bing.
Dave Bing.
I guess his real name, his government might be David, but
I remember he made the top 75 of, when they came out with the NBA top 75, and Loso was online like, who? Like that. But he's from Detroit, and I think he played. And so, all the Detroit guys, I'm friends with, are like, do not slander Dave Bing.
All
right. So Kadence, who's your GOAT in your opinion? Based on who you've seen, who's your GOAT?
My greatest player of all time, no drum roll, but it's Kobe Bean Bryant. That's my GOAT. I think he is I think if you swap out Kobe or LeBron too with Michael Jordan in his place, it would be the same thing. Like you'd hear everybody saying that LeBron's the GOAT, or everybody saying that Kobe's the GOAT, because so many people grew up watching that. So I think it would be the same thing. But Kobe is my GOAT because I think he's a better perimeter and interior defender than Michael Jordan. I don't think he's a better interior defender than LeBron James, but I think he's a better interior defender than Michael Jordan. He could score on so many levels, and Michael Jordan could when he had to, but it wasn't as efficient. You can't see him pull up from the 3 line. You're not gonna see him take some freaking crazy like 8 pump fakes, work in the post. He just doesn't do that. Kobe could just everything. He's like whatever you wanted him to do, he was there to do it. And I think he just had so little help, dude. Like he obviously the Shaq years, but Pau Gasol was barely an all-star. And LeBron, and here's an argument I really like about it. It's not Kobe, but it's LeBron and MJ. It's when LeBron left the Cavs, they were the worst team like in the whole NBA that year. But when MJ left, because let's just admit it, he got caught for gambling. But when he left,
hey, but you're too young to be believing conspiracy theories about Jordan. You're too young for this.
Let's go. He wanted to play baseball anyway.
Sure, all right, whatever. But for whatever reason, he left, and then the Bulls were a 57-win team and went to the finals, lost to Hakeem Olajuwon. So that really.
No, they didn't go to the finals that year, did they?
No, they lost in the semis. Although they got screwed. They got screwed. They lost to the Knicks that year in the semis. They got screwed, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
It's that just goes to show how much, not a crazy amount, obviously, but still a hefty amount of hope compared to LeBron James in his career. So my top 3 is just Kobe, Bron, MJ.
And you better hope Skip Bayless never sees this because he's going to have a whole segment dedicated.
He's going to have a field day. I swear.
And also, men over the age of 35 are going to see this and be enraged that you said
about
Michael
watching
Jordan.
these in tears right now.
All right, A1, who is your top 3?
So I have tiers, right? So I look at the greats almost like a living space.
He's always going to give like a politically correct answer.
It's not a
but I do like this analogy. This is a great analogy, though. Go ahead.
So I have it like I said, like a living space, right? So you have people who are on the ground floor all the way to the top where it's a penthouse. So for me, there's a penthouse suite that is being shared by 3 people. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I am just old enough to have watched the very tail end of his career, right? I've seen you can go back and watch old footage of Kareem, listen to all the records he broke, all that good stuff, right? So I got Kareem, I got LeBron, and I got Jordan, all in this living space. Jordan has the master suite.
He has the master suite in the penthouse.
Has the master suite, but that's how I look at the greats because again, to Cadence's point, it's hard to compare eras. Right, like the players who play today are more gifted athletically. Their defensive schemes are better. Their offensive schemes are better, even though people think they just shoot threes all the time. But it's hard to compare against eras. And so I want to be fair to those who came before, those I've seen in real time from beginning to end. Go ahead.
This is a good segue in something that we were talking about earlier, which is you say it's hard to compare eras, so it might be a very difficult question. But as we were playing earlier, and I was there, yes.
You don't know ball. Get out of here.
As we were talking earlier, would Larry Bird have been better? Okay, if we swap eras, Kevin Durant and Larry Bird, who is better? Who would have the better career? Would Larry Bird be better in this era, or would Kevin Durant be better during the time Bird played?
I mean, Durant's going to be an alien, right? Because Durant is going to be 6'10",
but he's up though.
But see, here's the thing that I feel like the mistake that people make about that, right? Like people try to talk about LeBron and say, "Oh, well, he couldn't play in the 80s because they just beat him up." And I'm like, LeBron is also going to be able to give just as good as he gets in that league because he's going to be able to be physical back, right? And so we're talking about in LeBron James, a guy with Karl Malone's physique, but could move like Jordan. So good luck trying to even get a hand on him because he's going to blow by you so fast. You're not going to be able to really get a great shot on him because guys today struggle to get a great hit on him when they get a chance to load up and apply a little pressure. I think you look at what Jokic has done. You look at Luka. Luka's not a great athlete. He's a really good athlete. If you look at what Luka does, to me, Larry Bird's going to be able to do not all those same things because he's a less of an athlete than Luka is. But he's going to have the ability, the ability to have weight training, to be able to tune his body to this level of play for today. And so I think guys like Larry, Shaq, Jordan, Bird, Kobe, the transcendent players, you can put them in any era, adapt them to that level of play for that time, and they're going to be great to me. Like, I don't think you're going to see any drop off in their ability.
We're talking about just the 3-point shot itself in this era, and like Kadence was telling me, I didn't know Draymond Green has more made 3-pointers than Larry Bird. And it's like, wow, and it's like, oh, if he played in the era where he was able to shoot it like,
it's
like
by a lot too.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I wonder what would have happened.
I mean, look, the 80s style of play, 80s and 90s basketball, when you just look at it from a spacing and aesthetic standpoint, it's trash. Everybody is below the 3-point line. You could have the Jordan rules because when he drives to the paint, there's 4 people in there. So you could put an elbow to his chest, to his sternum, because there's people there. In today's game, where you're going to have 3 or 4 shooters on the floor at any given time with Jordan, that lane is going to be wide open. And he's going to be able to attack, get to the rim, get in the post, and shoot fadeaways because you're going to have to stick to the shooters.
Yep.
So I mean, like, respect to the 80s and 90s era of basketball. It's the golden era for me. But aesthetically, man, when you go and watch those games, you just going to look at how muddled they are. They're all within 3-4 feet of each other because they don't value the 3.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think you swap Kevin Durant. I'm a huge Kevin Durant fan because I'm just a Thunder fan, even though he did betray us. But that's another day. But I love Kevin Durant, so I'm going to say Kevin Durant would do better than Larry Bird because I think Larry Bird is just – he's perfect for the era that he played in because nobody was doing that. Now we have so many people doing that. I feel like it would be hard for him to obviously give either of these people a few seasons. That'll be great. But I'm saying like first season, you know what I mean? I think it will take him a season or two to get used to the constant pressure because once they see like, oh, this guy's a shooter, they're going to press up and press up. I'm not saying they didn't do that back then because they very well did, but we had better defenders on the perimeter than they did back then because people weren't doing that. So I'm going to say Kevin Durant's better. Also, I like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, ain't mad. Yeah. What do you want to do? You want to talk Wolves, Mavericks before we get out of here?
Final minutes. Let's talk about the Wolves and the Mavericks. Game 5 is taking place tonight in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Minnesota was able to stave off elimination, winning a close game. All these games have basically been very close.
Very close. I think it's a total of like 15 points in all 4 games.
Yes. So, Kadence, I'll start with you. Do you think the Mavericks close it out tonight and punch their ticket to the NBA Finals?
It depends on if Derek Lively can play.
He is playing. I've already seen it. He's playing tonight.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that's so tough, dude. That is like such a hard question for me, dog. I think if Karl Anthony Towns cannot do what he did the other night and shoot like 1 for 9, I think they can very well hold a lead. I think they're gonna win this game, and then lose, and then they advance. But I'm hoping they win this game because I feel like their team gets eliminated, that they go straight to the Wolves. So that's how I feel. And I think Anthony Edwards can really be a bomb today, or just every day. But I feel like if Karl Anthony Towns really like walks in and can do what he does best, I feel like they can outdo the Mavs by obviously not a lot, by 4 points. I'm gonna say.
One more time. I can pull my FanDuel up real quick. I'm not saying you're legally doing anything right now, but my knowledge is always terrible. So no, I'm joking. I do say I remember. Was it? Yes, it was. It was game. Was it game 5 last series against the Nuggets when Anthony Edwards told the people in the locker room like, we'll
"I see y'all."
Yeah, I'll see y'all or it was game 4, I think. When he said
it was game 5 because they had to win game 6. Had to win game 6 to get to game 7.
And then I hear the reports of him telling, one of the guys, he's gonna bring him some shoes, when they get back for game 6. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, okay, all right, the script writers, I see what you're doing here. But with all of that said, Luka 30-point triple-double tonight. And I think the T-Wolves are going home, and I think I'm taking the Mavs by 10.5. I think it's going to be the game that's not like the others.
I'm gonna go with the. I want to root for the story here. So the story is the Wolves. I'm going to say that the Wolves. I'm going to agree with Cadence. They save face at home. They save face at home. They force a game 6. The Mavericks will close them out at home in game 6. I think that this team has a lot of pride. And the thing that I really love about watching the Wolves, I don't know if you got a chance to see the mic'd up Ant-Man.
When he was barking. Yeah,
he's barking.
Yeah, guess what?
I think I did see that.
My dog started barking, literally, because they heard barking on the TV in the living room. I was like, yo, apparently he does a pretty good job of that.
At 22 years old, to be the leader of that team.
Yeah, that's
right. When you got Mike Conley, who's a vet.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Rudy Gobert. He's a vet. He's a trusted, respected vet. Cat's been on the team 4 or 5 years, right? And so you have players there who are looking to this 22-year-old to lead them. And I think that they're going that same sense of urgency they had defensively. I expect to see them do that again. I expect to continue to see them try to make small tweaks to. You can't really stop Kyrie or Luka, but to just make it more difficult for them to try to agitate and frustrate them. I think you saw that in that game 4 where they're just knocking Luka down. Luka's like, "Yo, what's up? What's good?" And they're like, "What? Like, what's your problem?" Right? I think you're going to continue to see that. They're going to need Cat, to Cadence's point. He's got to get it going for 3. He got it going late in the 4th quarter. He's got to stop picking up the stupid fouls, man. Like, he picked up 3.
Yeah, that was so dumb, dude.
He picked up 3 that were unnecessary.
Yeah,
completely unnecessary. So, and especially with Luka, we'll talk about this later, but James Harden was killed for all the grifting he did for fouls, and Luka is James Harden-esque when it comes to creating contact to draw fouls that really aren't fouls. And so if they can find a way to stop the unnecessary and foolish fouling, keep that energy up, keep that defensive intensity up, I think they'll take game 5, game 6, and then we'll have, I think June 6th is the first night of the finals. Mavericks versus Celtics in the NBA finals. So that's our time for this week, y'all. Cadence, we appreciate you rocking with us. Thank you very much, sir. As always, please remember, you can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing. Excuse me, I got this screwdriver in my hand. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to listen. It's my ADHD. Like I had to have something to fiddle with while I'm sitting here.
I feel that.
You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, searching for It's a Black and White Thing, like the content. Leave a comment, whether positive or negative, where we would like positive comments. You can also check us out on YouTube by searching for Brains and Bars. Like, share the content, hit the notification bell, tell a friend, it's the boys again. As well, social media, Brains and Bars, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And until next time, it's been a black
and white and white.
And white, yeah.
thing.
I know
and white thing. Y'all be easy. Have a good night. We'll holler at y'all next week.
All right, everyone. Take care, bro.
Yep. See you.